What makes a book-to-movie adaptation great? It's not just following the story, it's about capturing the spirit and essence of the original while taking advantage of the visual medium. Some adaptations nail it, like The Lord of the Rings, but others struggle because the transition from page to screen isn't always seamless. Let's talk about it. This past weekend, I watched 3 movies that were all based on books. Here, based on the graphic novel by Richard Maguire starring Tom Hanks and Robin Wright. HitPig, an animated movie based on the children's book Pete Pickles starring Jason Sudeikis and Rainn Wilson. And Lost on a Mountain in Maine, a small-budget movie based on the book Lost on a Mountain in Maine by Don Fendler, who was the boy who was lost on a mountain in Maine. So the book and movie are based on true events. In the context of book-to-movie adaptations, each of these movies had its own issues. So let's see what went wrong with them. First, letting movies be movies. Here was successful as a graphic novel because it made major strides as a comic book, turning what is 2D media into 3D through its unique use of frames and transitions between sections. The movie tried to do this in its transitions between scenes, but it wasn't very successful. It's similar to what Ang Lee did with the movie Hulk, and Hulk wasn't received well at that time either. The issue is that movies are already 3D, and by trying to turn something that is already 3D into 2D is a step backwards, and it loses the advantage of the silver screen. Films have a fluid motion and immersion that can't necessarily be translated exactly as it was in a comic. What here did beautifully in print, creating dimensionality through frames and visual juxtapositions, didn't have the same impact on film. The filmmakers seemed to be focused on replicating the graphic novel's visual concept without fully exploring what a film could add to the story. But even if they wanted to try something so artistically ambitious, it really needs to serve a purpose other than just art for art's sake. The movie could have been more if it was allowed to be a movie and not an on-screen comic book adaptation. 2. Honoring the heart of the source. Pete Pickles, the children's book that was the inspiration for HitPig, is a beloved book that had themes of friendship, understanding, and adventure. In Pete Pickles, the friendship felt organic because each character's traits complement each other's. But in HitPig, they altered Pickles so much that the friendship lost its natural spark. Friendship between unlikely characters works when the personalities still make sense together. And in the movie, they forced it to fit plot points instead. Yes, the story events in the movie created a situation for them to meet, but Pete, or in the case of the movie HitPig, was not the kind of character that would have bonded with Pickles. Now, I'm not saying that the movie was necessarily bad, but there were many areas where it could have been better, especially with Pete and Pickles, the 2 main characters who were so endearing in the source material. 3. Balancing truth with drama. So here we have an opposite problem with this movie. But let's talk about the movie Rudy starring Sean Astin. Rudy is based on the true story of Daniel Rudiger, an aspiring football player who had ambitions to play college football at Notre Dame, one of the best college football programs at the time, despite Rudy not having a football body or even being athletic. His grit and determination got him a spot on the practice squad and eventually a moment of glory on the field. But there were several instances that happened in the movie that did not happen in Rudy's real-life story. The jersey scene was only with one player. His coach wasn't opposed to him playing in real life. And Fortune, the groundskeeper, who was played by Charles S. Dutton, was a combination of 3 different people. But those movie elements were included to keep the film dramatic, flowing, and a little bit exciting. Without those elements, the movie would not have been as entertaining. For the movie Lost on a Mountain in Maine, which is a fairly well-known story in Maine, we needed elements that keep the intensity high without straying far from the real events. Tension can come from nature's unpredictability or the character's resourcefulness, but instead it relied too heavily on well-known, less dramatic elements from the real story. Now, I know there are mixed opinions on this, but a movie needs drama and even action to be exciting, and there wasn't much of that in this movie. The movie is supposed to be about a boy who is alone on a mountain. There is so much potential for action. But does that mean we need to have a fake bear fight with the boy charging at a bear and beating it with his hands? That may have been exciting, but no, we don't need that. But we do need something that would separate this movie from other survivor movies. Something more than just hurt feet. Not all book-to-movie adaptations need to follow the original story to the letter, but they should represent the story's core. Movies can bring books to life in exciting ways if they stay true to the source, add the right drama, and embrace the strengths of film. But what did you think? Did you enjoy or see any of these movies? Do you like book-to-movie adaptations like I do? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.